the live action remake from Netflix for Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's going to release on Netflix on February 22nd, 2024. It's 8 episodes long, and it looks like, as if just based on the trailer, it looks like it was going to be based on book 1 for now. So I'll start with you, Kyan. Kyan, what are your thoughts on this? What were your initial reactions?
Well, for one, people say, it's based on book 1, but for me, it looks like it's based on part of book 1. It doesn't look like it's all of book 1. I don't think you can squeeze all of book 1 in
8 episodes.
Episodes. There's too much going on. And further to that, we see nothing of the Southern Water Tribe?
Northern?
Is it Northern Water Tribe, which is the end?
Yeah, Northern.
Yeah, it's the Northern Water Tribe, where there's the big showdown between the Water Tribe and the Fire Nation.
Yeah.
So we see nothing of that in the teaser. Maybe they're saving it, or maybe they just don't get that far. But from my eye, I see from what I remember of the episodes, it looks like we get up to Omashu, which is maybe like
mid
season.
Yeah.
And beyond that, I can't see anything else beyond that. There's the earlier ones with Suki.
She's in it.
Yeah, she's in it, but that's way earlier on. That's like the 4th episode.
Yeah.
So in this respect, I really do hope that this first season is only like half of season 1 of book 1. Sorry.
Yeah.
Water. Because I don't think you can fit it all in an entire Netflix season of 8 episodes.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Maybe 16 or 20. Maybe.
Yeah.
But there wasn't that many filler episodes in book 1. Most of the filler episodes was in book 2, really.
Yeah, book 2 and book 3, yeah. And there's a lot of episodes in there that I actually think are kind of redundant. There are a few episodes there that you don't really need.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the most part, I actually think that the trailer looked quite impressive. I think the production looked impressive.
Mm-hmm.
I think the casting looked impressive.
Mm-hmm.
The only real fear on my mind, and I'm sure it's on your mind, is whether or not it'll be given justice because its creators left the project.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
We don't know why they left the project.
Wasn't it to focus on another one? Because isn't Paramount and Nickelodeon doing a last
Avatar Studios?
Yeah. So I think it was because of that.
I'm starting to think it is as well.
Yeah.
Because the Avatar Studios was created like quite literally like weeks or days after they left the project. So there's a very good chance that the creative differences in big quotes was more like we were given another opportunity.
Yeah.
And this series is not really something we feel is worth our time steering for the next 8 years or whatever, how long.
Yeah.
10 years.
They need to shoot that fast if that's their goal, because the kids are going to grow up.
Well, that would be another thing, is that you can't, with animation, it's not the same as live action, right?
Yeah.
So you do have to account for aging.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if I was Netflix, I would pitch the show as a longer form journey. It's years for Aang to train to become the Avatar.
Change the story
Change it, just expand the time frame.
Yeah.
So that these characters age up a bit throughout the war.
Right.
Which I don't actually think would negatively affect the storytelling at all.
Mm.
Yeah. So what? Says in Comet instead of arriving in like the end of summer, like arrives in 4, 5, 6 years.
Well, yeah, exactly. So it maybe takes like them like 4 or 5 years in order to fully train Aang and all that sort of thing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like, it's very similar to what Stranger Things did.
Yes.
You know, you go back to the later Stranger Things season and they're meant to be like, what is it, 14, 15? And they're like 20 something.
Yeah.
And like, no one buys it, but you get the sense of the continuity. So I don't think the aging will affect it that much unless it's like dramatic and they take 3 years. But I think these kids are a little bit younger, so it may appear a little bit more dramatic on the aging side of things.
Well, it come down to the Aang actor, because he's a very, very small kid.
Yeah, how do you know how old he is?
I'm not sure how old he is.
No idea.
But yeah, he's
I
young.
know Aang is around about 10 years old or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're going to have to really he'll have to age into the role. I think that's just a reality you have to deal with live action.
Unless they want to shoot seasons back to back to back to back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is not Netflix's style.
Yeah.
You know, they're very much we'll wait and see how it does, and if it tanks off, then we just cancel it.
Mm.
That's their style.
Which I think they might do. And then if this first part is really successful, I think they might go, okay, cool. We'll just shoot back to back to back. And then whether we actually release it, depending on numbers, is another thing.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the length of the series versus how it's going to go throughout the story, I mean, I think they could do 3 seasons, book 1, 2, and 3, because, you know, it'd be similar to a Game of Thrones season. As long as the episodes are around like an hour, you got 8 hours of content there. I think you could do justice to the story, but I do think it's probably the better choice to, you know, take your time and tell the story at the right pace it needs to, not kind of have every scene be like big and building up to something. So, I mean, I think it can work as 8 episodes, but judging from the teaser, and it is just kind of more of a teaser than a full-on trailer, we might not see, you know, the end of the first season of the first one. Yeah. So overall, I don't have too much concerns on the story side of things, because the people creating it, they have a reference point to knowing what a bad live action adaptation is for The Last Airbender. And I think you can learn from your mistakes with that one pretty easily, I think.
You know what not to do for sure.
Yeah.
The whether or not they can capture the essence of the animated series while still within that live action format is another thing.
Well, I hope the creators during their time with the project gave them enough of a foundation for the creators now to build off and actually craft something in line with the animated version. But overall, you know, I'm very excited. The production does look good. I'm very intrigued, and I'm open to giving this one a chance. There's nothing that's like giving me pause for caution or anything at this point. I'm keen to see how it is. If it's bad, I don't know if it can be worse than the one we do have, the live action one. And
I don't think it would be worse. And I think it would be better. How much better is another question, but it would be better.
Yeah, and I think we've got to manage expectations that nothing can really beat the, you know, original animated series.
Yeah.
So we're not going to go to that height, but if we come close, then I'm fully satisfied and happy with that.
Yeah, and I love how they've finally got the bending right. They don't need to pull from a source; they are the source.
Yeah, they are the source. Yeah,
which is good.
Except for earthbenders and waterbenders.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but
wait, so doesn't they do that in the animated one? They
pull from. They basically create firebenders and airbenders. Create from
themselves.
Yeah.
Oh, firebenders do.
Yeah.
Oh, they do. Yeah, and in the M. Night Shyamalan one, they needed fire around them to pull from a.
Most firebenders did. Iroh could create his own fire in the original.
Oh right.
Which is stupid.
Yeah, that was like a special skill.
Yeah.
And it was like, come on.
It's like, he's a really, truly skilled firebender to not pull from a source.
Yeah.
Oh, shut up, man.
Yeah.
I'll also say this. You know, the original animated series, I will say this. Each episode does feel a little bit short.
It's 25 minutes.
Yeah, 25 minutes. And whenever I'm watching those episodes, and they're doing character stuff, I'm like, this isn't enough. It's not because I like want it. I desire more of the show, etc., etc.
Yeah.
I think it's it's paced well, but it's just they rush a lot of stuff in there as well. If I'm going to make any criticism on the animated series,
right?
There is rushing.
You would like the live action one to do like half of book 1 in the first season,
Correct.
and really take the time with the character moments. And
take their time with the characters, because you really need to convince the audience to buy into it. With the animated series,
it's animated. You can easily get away with it.
You can get away with it a lot more. Yeah.
For sure. We'll find out not too far. 3 months.
3 months basically.
3
4 months.
Could be a different podcast on that February date.